Hello. Welcome to Topher Stories, where stories comes alive. Please subscribe and share with friends. Now, relax and enjoy the story. The night was darker than usual. No stars. No moon. Just a cold wind whispering through the leaves, as if warning her to turn back. Natalie Brooks held her breath, her heart pounding like a drum. She hid behind the thick shrubs, clutching a small bag with the only thing she owned, an old pair of jeans, a plain white shirt, and a drawing book with her dream designs. She peeped through the bushes. The villagers had gathered around the sacred fire. Their faces were painted with white chalk. They wore red robes and danced in a slow, eerie rhythm. The drums were low and steady, matching the sound of Natalie's racing heartbeat. Her eyes landed on the center of the circle. Her best friend, Janet, stood barefoot and trembling. Her arms were tied with palm leaves, and her mouth was covered with a cloth. "No, not Janet," Natalie whispered to herself, tears burning in her eyes. The priest lifted a sharp knife, his voice deep and strange. "This offering will bring peace to the ancestors. The spirit of the chosen one must speak no more." Natalie's stomach turned. She couldn't watch. This wasn't peace. This was madness. She backed away slowly, her sandals slipping in the mud. A twig snapped beneath her foot. Her body froze. "Who's there?" A voice shouted from the ritual circle. She ran. Fast. Branches scratched her arms. Thorns tore her skin. But she didn't stop. She kept running, her bag banging against her side. Her lungs burned, her legs ached, but her fear pushed her forward. She reached the edge of the forest and saw the small rusty gate that separated the village from the outside world. Natalie had never crossed it before. No one ever did. With shaking hands, she pushed it open. Freedom. She kept walking. No plan, no money, no food, but she was alive and out. By morning, she reached the roadside. Her feet were bleeding. Her clothes were dirty. Cars zoomed past, ignoring her. Finally, a dusty yellow bus stopped. The driver leaned out. "Where you dey go, sister?" "I don't know. Just the city," Natalie replied, her voice dry. He looked at her for a second. Maybe he saw something in her eyes. "Enter. But I no get change." She climbed in without replying. As the bus pulled away, Natalie leaned against the window, staring at the sky. The clouds had cleared. The sun was rising. "I will be free," she whispered. But she had no idea. Freedom would cost her more than she ever imagined. 3 days later, Natalie sat on a wooden bench at a small park near the bus terminal. Her stomach growled. Her lips were dry. The last piece of bread she had stolen from a food vendor was long gone. Her bag was now torn, her shirt stained with sweat and dust. People walked past her like she was invisible. She opened her drawing book, flipping through the pages. Sketches of dresses, heels, earrings, all dreams from a different life. "Excuse me?" She looked up. A tall man in a black suit stood before her, clean-shaven, sunglasses, holding a bottle of cold water. "You look like you need this," he said, handing her the bottle. Natalie hesitated, but thirst won. She grabbed it and drank greedily. "Thank you," she said softly, wiping her mouth. "I'm Derek." "Derek Kane," he said, sitting beside her without asking. She shifted slightly. "I've been watching you for the past 15 minutes. You're not from around here." Natalie stared at him. "Is that supposed to be a compliment?" Derek chuckled. "No, it's just, I notice people. It's part of my job." She raised an eyebrow. "I run a talent agency," he continued. "Models, fashion, art. You've got a face that sells." Natalie looked away. "I'm not a model." "But you could be," he said, gently pulling her sketchbook. He flipped through it slowly. "You drew these?" "Yes." "They're good. Really good. Ever thought of working in fashion?" "I used to dream about it," she whispered, "before everything changed." Derek nodded like he understood. Life gets messy. But sometimes, all it takes is one chance. I could help you. Give you a place to stay, food to eat, clothes to wear. In exchange, you work with me. Natalie looked at him, unsure. I'm not asking for your soul, Derek added, smiling. Just your talent. She hesitated. But where else would she go? Back to the village? Back to silence? Okay, she whispered. Derek stood and reached out his hand. She took it. Let's get you cleaned up. By evening, Natalie was in a beautiful apartment in the city. White curtains, soft bed, a walk-in closet full of designer clothes. She stared at the mirror, barely recognizing herself. Her new clothes hugged her body. Her face was clean. Her hair brushed back neatly. You look like a star, Derek said from the door. She smiled shyly. You'll meet with my photographer tomorrow. We'll build your portfolio. Trust me, by next month, you'll be on every billboard in town. Natalie nodded. That night, she slept like a baby. No screams, no drums, no fear. For the first time, she felt safe. Weeks passed. Photo shoots, interviews, Instagram followers. People called her the fresh face of African fashion. She laughed more, ate well, slept in silk sheets. Her past felt like a bad dream. But slowly, things began to change. Derek started picking her clothes. Don't wear that. You need to look sexier. He took her phone. You don't need distractions. He timed her outings. 2 hours, then back. Don't forget. He made her cancel meetings. That designer is not good for your brand. One night, Natalie found the courage to speak. Derek, I need space. I feel trapped. He looked at her coldly. Trapped? You were eating dirt when I found you. Sleeping in the street. Don't forget where I picked you from. His words cut deeper than a knife. I'm sorry, she whispered. He softened. I just want the best for you. You're my star. He kissed her forehead and walked away. She stood there, frozen. Was this what freedom looked like? Her heart told her something was wrong, but her mind was confused. She had food, shelter, fame. Wasn't this what she wanted? Then why did she feel like she was in a golden cage? That night, Natalie stood by the window, staring at the city lights. Her reflection in the glass looked beautiful, but her eyes looked empty. I escaped one prison, she whispered, just to enter another. The camera flashes were blinding, but Natalie smiled like it was the best day of her life. Reporters crowded around her as she walked down the red carpet in a gold dress that hugged every curve. Fans screamed her name. Paparazzi followed her every step. Natalie Brooks, the new queen of African fashion. Who designed your dress? Is it true you're dating Derek Kane? She gave them the same practice smile. No comment, she said, just like Derek had trained her. Once inside the event hall, Natalie sat the front row, right beside celebrities she had only seen on TV. Cameras kept flashing. Every move she made was captured and posted online. On social media, she was a goddess. Hashtag Natalie the new icon. Hashtag from nowhere to fame. Hashtag face of the year. Thousands of likes, comments, and reposts. She scrolled through her phone backstage, reading some of the messages. Girl, you're my inspiration. I wish I had your life. You're glowing, sis. Natalie smiled, but something inside her fell off. All these people loved her image, but none of them knew her story. That night, when she returned to the apartment, she tried calling Marcus, a new friend she had met during a shoot, but her phone gave a sharp beep. This number has been blocked. She tried calling someone else. Same result. Natalie frowned and marched to Derek's office in the penthouse. Derek, she said, banging on the door. He opened it slowly, sipping a glass of wine. Yes. Why are all my contacts blocked? He raised an eyebrow. Because you don't need distractions. You're a brand now, Natalie. Not some random girl who chats with strangers. I'm a human being, not a product, she snapped. His face turned cold. Watch your tone, he said. I made you. I can break you. Natalie's chest tightened. You don't owe me. Derek chuckled, walking closer. Don't I? Who pays your rent? Who bought your clothes? Who made you famous? Without me, you're just a hungry village girl with dirt on her feet. Her eyes filled with tears. I trusted you. You still should, because if you try to leave, He reached into his drawer and dropped a folder on the table. Inside were photos, Natalie, dirty and barefoot, running from a village. One photo even showed the secret ritual she witnessed. Her blood ran cold. Where did you get these? I have my ways. I know everything, Natalie. Everything. Now behave, or the world will know your dirty little past. Natalie's legs felt weak. She turned and walked out, slamming the door behind her. Back in her room, she threw her phone across the bed and sank to the floor. Outside, the world thought she had it all. Beauty, fame, success. But inside, she was trapped, broken, scared. Her followers saw light, but they didn't know she lived in shadow. It started with a letter, a plain white envelope, slipped under her door in the middle of the night. Natalie picked it up confused. She opened it slowly. Her heart stopped. Inside was a piece of brown paper. The words were written in Tavii, her village's sacred language, one she hadn't seen since the night she escaped. The curse follows the chosen. You left before it was finished. Her hands trembled. She read it again and again. No one knows this language except the people from my village, she whispered. She rushed to the door and looked around the hallway. Empty, silent. She tried to call Derek, but remembered he had taken control of her phone. The next morning, she tried to act normal. Photo shoot, makeup, smile, pose. But inside, she was falling apart. Later that night, another letter came. Same handwriting, same language. You were chosen. The spirit won't rest. You must return. Natalie locked all her doors and windows. She barely slept. She began to see shadows outside her window, heard whispers in the hall. One day, she woke up to find her sketchbook open on her desk, showing the exact design she had drawn back in the village, the one Janet had loved. I didn't open this, she muttered, looking around. Then came the worst part. A box was delivered to the reception of her building with no sender's name. Inside was a small necklace made from cowries and red beads. It was Janet's. Natalie dropped it on the floor, her hands shaking. No. She couldn't breathe. Her chest tightened. She felt dizzy. Derek found her hours later, curled up in the corner of her room. Nat, what's going on? He asked, concerned for once. She handed him the letters and the necklace. He read them slowly, his expression changing. This isn't good, he whispered. I think someone from the village followed me, Natalie said, her voice hollow. Maybe even Janet. What if she's alive? What if she's angry? Derek sat beside her. You need to forget the village. You left for a reason. But what if the curse is real? She asked, her voice cracking. What if I brought it with me? There's no such thing as curses, Derek snapped. This is someone messing with you. I'll handle it. But Natalie wasn't sure. The letters felt too real, too personal. That night, she dreamed of Janet standing in the ritual circle, crying blood, whispering her name. The next morning, Natalie got dressed and walked to the studio for another shoot. Her face was flawless, her body stunning, but her spirit was somewhere far away. During a break, Marcus approached her. You okay? He asked. Natalie hesitated, then whispered, Do you believe in curses? He looked surprised. Why? Because I think I'm living inside one. She told him everything, the village, the ritual, the letters. Marcus didn't laugh. He listened. You need help, Natalie. Real help. This sounds serious. But who can I trust? She whispered. Everyone wants something from me. I don't, he said softly. For the first time in weeks, she believed someone. That night, Natalie received no letter. But when she looked in the mirror, her eyes seemed darker. The village hadn't left her. It had followed her into her freedom. And now it wanted something back. It was raining heavily. Thunder cracked the sky in angry flashes. Natalie had just returned from a photo shoot when the lights flickered and went off. She lit a candle and sat on the edge of her bed, hugging her knees. The shadows on the wall moved like they were alive. Something didn't feel right. She got up and paced around the apartment. Her mind was restless, replaying the messages from the village, the necklace, the blocked contacts, the feeling of being watched. She needed answers. She needed truth. Then she remembered something strange. A few days ago, Derek had forgotten to lock his office. She had seen a small door at the back, half hidden by a bookshelf. Tonight, with the power out and Derek away at a dinner meeting, maybe it was her only chance. She tiptoed out of her room and into the hallway. Her candle flickered, casting long shadows on the walls. She reached the door to Derek's office and tried the knob. Unlocked. Her heart pounded as she entered. Everything was just as she remembered. Sleek, black desk, wine bottles on the shelves, photos of celebrities on the wall. She walked to the bookshelf at the back. Gently, she pushed aside. Behind it was the small door, painted the same color as the wall. Locked, but something told her to try harder. She bent down and noticed a small keypad beside it. She tried Derek's birthday. Beep, 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 click. The door creaked open slowly. Natalie stepped inside and froze. It was a room, cold, silent, hidden. The walls were covered with photos, not just of her, but of other girls. At least 15 of them. All beautiful, all smiling, all wearing clothes from Derek's agency. But each photo had a red mark, an X drawn across it. Natalie's knees weakened. She walked further in. A shelf held ID cards, makeup kits, phones, and even passports. Belongings from the girls. Like trophies. One folder lay open on a desk. Her name was written on it. Natalie Brooks, Phase 4. Inside, she saw a schedule of her daily routine. Psychological reports. A file titled Publicity versus Disappearance Timeline. Her hands shook as she flipped through it. Each girl had vanished. Quietly, without warning. She picked up a photo of one girl with long black hair and soft brown eyes. Jessica Holloway, final phase. Body never found. Natalie gasped and stepped back. The candle in her hand flickered violently and went out. She stood in total darkness. Natalie, a voice whispered. She spun around. No one was there. Heart racing, she stumbled out of the room, locking the door behind her. She ran back to her bedroom and slammed the door shut. She couldn't breathe. Derek wasn't her savior. He was her prison guard. And now, she feared she was next. The next morning, Natalie didn't go to the studio. She lied and told Derek she was feeling sick. He didn't seem convinced. Make sure you rest, he said on the phone. I'll be home by 6 p.m. Don't go anywhere. But Natalie already had plans. She sent a message to Marcus Lee using a hidden phone he had once gifted her just in case. Please, I need to see you. It's urgent. Within 30 minutes, a black SUV pulled up outside the building. Natalie covered her face with a scarf and ran into it. Inside, Marcus looked worried. What's going on? She didn't speak. She just handed him the photos she had taken in the hidden room. She had snapped as many as she could the night before. Marcus flipped through them slowly, his face growing pale. This man is dangerous, he said. You can't stay there anymore. I know, Natalie whispered. But if I run, he'll come after me. He is proof of my past. He'll ruin me. Marcus looked into her eyes. Then let me help you disappear properly. She hesitated. Why do you even care? He sighed. Because from the moment I saw you, I knew you were more than just a face. I've been in this industry for years, and I've never met someone who shines even when they're hurting. Natalie looked away, tears forming in her eyes. I'm not strong, Marcus. I've just been surviving. He reached over and took her hand gently. You don't have to survive alone anymore. Her heart beat faster. No one had ever said that to her before. He leaned closer, and for a moment, the world slowed down. Their lips met, soft, hesitant, real. For the first time in months, Natalie felt warmth, hope, love. They drove to Marcus's private estate outside the city. It was quiet, beautiful, and surrounded by tall trees. He gave her a guest room, warm food, and a phone that wasn't being monitored. You're safe here, he said. But deep down, Natalie knew it wouldn't be that simple. Back at the mansion, Derek returned home to find her room empty. No note, no explanation. He checked the security footage. Nothing. Natalie had used the back exit. His jaw tightened. His face darkened. "She thinks she can run," he muttered. He stormed into the secret room and saw the open folder. He screamed and threw a glass against the wall. The next day, Natalie woke up in Marcus's estate feeling peace. But it didn't last. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. No one spoke. Then a voice. "You can hide, but you can't run. You're mine." The line cut. She froze. Marcus entered the room and saw her pale face. He called. Marcus clenched his fists. "We're going to the police." But Natalie shook her head. "He has people. He'll spin it. I have no proof of what he did to those girls. Just photos. No bodies." Marcus looked at her. "Then we expose him. Together." She nodded, wiping her tears. That night, as they sat on the balcony, Natalie turned to him. "I want to believe you, Marcus. I want to trust you. But I've trusted the wrong people before." "I understand," he said gently. "But I'm not him. I won't control you. I'll walk with you." She smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. And for the first time, love didn't feel like chains. It felt like freedom. But they both knew Derek wasn't done. And the past always comes back with a price. Natalie sat in Marcus's home office, flipping through files he had pulled from Derek's agency database. Marcus had secretly hired a private investigator to dig into Derek's business deals, and what they found made her stomach turn. "This man has over 10 shell companies," Marcus said. "Everything looks clean on the outside, but behind the scenes, it's a trap." Natalie's eyes scanned a thick file titled Client Agreement, Natalie Brooks. She frowned. "I never signed anything like this." "You sure?" Marcus asked. "I mean, I did sign something the first week." He said it was just for wardrobe release and sponsorships. Marcus opened the contract. "Look at this," he said. "Page 7, paragraph 3. Natalie leaned closer, her eyes locked on a sentence. "The client hereby agrees to surrender all creative, legal, financial, and identity rights to Kane Agency for a period of 10 years. She blinked. "What does that mean?" she whispered. Marcus's voice was tight. "It means legally you belong to him." "No," she whispered. "That can't be right. He owns your name, your image, your brand. You can't model for anyone else. Can't even change agencies. If you try to go public with anything, he can sue you for a breach of contract. And win." Natalie stood up, pacing the room. "How could I have signed something like this? I didn't know." "He tricked you. He buried the real contract under pages of fashion jargon." She clutched her head. "This is why the girls couldn't escape. They were tied to him legally." Marcus nodded. "That's how he controls them. No one wants to fight a contract worth millions. They disappear before they can." Natalie stared at the document, feeling sick. Her name was on every page. "You mean even if I run, he owns my name? My face?" "Yes," Marcus said. Unless what?" "Unless we prove the contract was signed under false information. If we can show he manipulated you or forged parts of it, the court might break it. Or he might break me before then," she said, her voice shaking. Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll find a way." But Natalie knew this wasn't just about papers and signatures. Her whole life was now a contract. She no longer belonged to herself. Later that night, Natalie couldn't sleep. She stepped outside onto the balcony, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. The air was cold, but her thoughts were burning. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. A message. "Come outside. Please. It's your mother." Natalie froze. Her mother? She had died in the village fire, burned during the same ritual Natalie escaped. She rushed downstairs and ran into the driveway. Marcus followed, calling after her. Standing near the garden gate was an old woman with a wrinkled face, wrapped in a faded scarf. Her eyes familiar, deep, sad. "Mom," Natalie whispered. The woman nodded slowly. Natalie dropped to her knees. Tears rushed to her eyes. How are you alive?" "I never died," her mother said softly. "I was hidden, banished after you ran." Natalie stood slowly, shaking. "They told me you burned during the ritual." That's what they wanted you to believe. Marcus stepped forward, confused. Natalie, what's going on? Her mother turned to him. You must listen carefully. My daughter was never just a girl from the village. She was chosen. Chosen for what? Natalie asked. Her mother looked down. For a cleansing ritual, one that would break a curse that has haunted our bloodline for generations. The spirits chose her because she was born during the blood moon, the sign of the spirit walker. I didn't agree to any of that, Natalie said, shaking her head. They forced Janet into it. They tried to force me. I ran. Her mother stepped closer. And by running, you awaken the curse instead of ending it. What curse? Marcus asked. Her mother looked at both of them. In our bloodline, the first daughter of every third generation dies before the age of 25, unless the ritual is completed. You were supposed to be the one who broke it. But when you ran, the spirits were angered. They followed you. Natalie's eyes widened. The letters, the necklace, the nightmares were warnings, her mother said. Not from me, but from them. But I didn't ask to be chosen. Natalie shouted. I just wanted to live, to be free. Her mother's voice broke. Sometimes, freedom costs more than staying trapped. When you left, you cursed both of us. Natalie's knees weakened. What do I do now? There's only one way, her mother said. You must return. Finish the ritual. No, Marcus interrupted. You're not going back there. That place is evil. Her mother turned to him, her voice firm. Evil or not, the curse is real. You may not believe it, but she feels it every night, in her blood, in her bones. Natalie stood between them, shaking. Why now? She asked. Why come now? Because the spirit gave me one final dream. It said the curse will claim its debt soon. If you don't return by the next blood moon, you'll die, Natalie, and so will I. Natalie stared at the sky, her thoughts spinning. All this time, she thought running gave her freedom. But now, even her breath felt borrowed. Even her life was rented. Marcus held her hand. We'll find another way. But Natalie wasn't sure, because when the past returns in flesh and shadow, the present begins to rot. Natalie sat by the window, watching the blood moon rise into the sky. Red, full, heavy. It felt like the moon was watching her. Marcus stood behind her. You don't have to do this. But I do, she said quietly. Either I return to the village and give them what they want, or I kill Derek and take back my life. Both are wrong, Marcus said. Natalie turned. Her eyes were tired. There's no right choice left, Marcus. Just pain. He walked closer, holding her shoulders. What about running? Disappearing? She shook her head. He owns me. My name, my face, even my silence. Marcus clenched his fists. Then let's fight him legally. Expose him. She looked up at him. You've seen how deep his web goes. If I try to sue, he'll bury me in papers. If I try to run, he'll find me. But if I go back to the village, I lose my soul. If I kill him, I lose my heart. Marcus didn't speak. He knew she was right. Natalie turned away. When I was a girl, I used to dream of freedom. I thought it would feel like dancing in the rain. Now it just feels like drowning in choices. There was silence between them. Then she whispered, but I've made mine. The next day, Natalie visited Derek's agency. She wore a long coat, her face hidden behind a black scarf. Derek was waiting in his glass office on the top floor. When she walked in, he smirked. Well, look who finally crawled back. I came to talk, she said calmly. He poured himself a drink. Talk? Or beg? You know you can't leave. You signed that away. She sat across from him. And what about the girls? The ones who disappeared? He raised an eyebrow. Watch your tone. I know everything, Derek. The photos. The files. The secret room. Derek's face darkened. Careful, Natalie. She stared into his eyes. I'm done being careful. He stepped closer, voice low. Then be ready to lose everything. She smiled sadly. I already have. She stood and dropped a flash drive on his table. That's your empire. On video, copies already sent to journalists. Derek laughed. No one will believe you. She leaned in. They will after what's about to happen. He looked at her, confused. What do you mean? She didn't answer. Instead, she turned and walked out, leaving the door wide open. 10 minutes later, smoke started rising from the basement. Then flames. The entire agency began to burn. And inside his office, Derek screamed as everything he built turned to ash. Videos of the burning agency spread like wildfire. Social media exploded. Model burns down abusive agency. Natalie Brooks, hero or criminal? Derek Kane under investigation. The world now knew the truth. But Natalie wasn't celebrating. She sat alone in a quiet motel on the edge of the city. No makeup, no cameras, just silence. Marcus came in and placed a newspaper on the bed. Your face is everywhere, he said softly. She nodded. They love a scandal. They're calling you brave. I don't feel brave. Marcus sat beside her. You're free now. She looked at her hands. Am I? He didn't answer. Later that night, she stood in front of a mirror. She touched her face, famous, but empty. She whispered, I burned it all, the lights, the lies, the stage. I got what I wanted, but I lost who I was. Her reflection stared back, tired, broken, changed. Months passed. The agency was gone. Derek disappeared before he could be arrested. Some say he died in the fire. Others say he fled the country. Natalie never returned to the village. She never modeled again. But her face lived everywhere, on posters, on blogs, in memory. People called her the girl who escaped. But deep down, Natalie knew the truth. She didn't escape. She just traded one cage for another. Because even in freedom, her mind was still chained. And every night, she whispered to herself, there's no freedom in freedom, only choices. And every choice leaves a scar.